Hi guys, we are on our way to the Natural and Organics product show taking place in Malmo, Sweden. Finally, I get to go. I can't wait. So it's a really exciting time. I've had a fresh shave, a new look. I've also got my book, Ibn Battuta, and his travel guide. So I'm going to have an exciting read and can't wait to get there. See you soon.
Caution, Portchester, Bareham, Swanwick and Southampton Central.
I just love traveling. It's amazing. Just meet new people, and it's just an adventure, really. A bit like Ibn Battuta, traveling the world and creating stories. Create your own story. Yeah, I'm in Copenhagen Airport. It's eerily quite quiet here. Just about to get a train from Copenhagen to Sweden. It's a really nice station. Just arrived at the hotel. It's really cool because everything is close by. You've got the hotel, you've got the exhibition center just over here. And the shopping center just behind over there, right at the back. Hi guys, well, kind of tired. It's been a long day traveling, getting here. You know, I think I really need to burn some frankincense. The thing is, I can't do that. The windows are locked, the room is small, they've got smoke alarms, so I don't think I want to risk it in this hotel room. Not tonight anyway. So what have we got with us on this trip? We've got loads of bags of these small packs of frankincense, which has got very high quality resins such as the yellow lime. It's pure hardwood frankincense, so this is something I would want to distribute tomorrow at the exhibition to potential buyers and suppliers. I'm going to repack them into smaller packets so I can distribute them to more people. I bought my Boswellia Sacra frankincense, which is one of the finest quality frankincense essential oils out there. It is a ingestible one, so you can take 2 to 3 drops under your tongue. I'm actually going to show you because a lot of people ask me to make a video on this, which I will. And look, just put 2 to 3 drops on your finger. Oh, it's nice. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to be giving these out tomorrow, all for free to potential suppliers. But more importantly, I'm looking forward to just walking around and having a look what people are doing out here. Are people using frankincense in their products? What is the knowledge on frankincense? What's their views on frankincense? And you know, how is business done in this part of the world? I think I need to repack these. So thankfully, I bought some gloves with me, because the frankincense gets really sticky. So just I think a few pieces like that, a little gold seal at the back, should do the trick. I'm so tired. I think it's time for me to sleep. Good night, guys. See you in the morning. Good morning, guys. You know, there's no better way to start the day with a quick workout, a jog, a stretch, a prayer and meditation. We're going to start this day and it's going to be amazing. Wow, that was a really good breakfast. I'm stuffed. I've got my pass. I'm ready to hit the show. The Polish ambassador to Sweden is about to do the opening ceremony. and there's lots of people coming in. There's about 500 exhibitors. I can't wait. It's exciting. I've got my frankincense fully packed. I've been working through the night, got up early this morning, and you know, you just got to manifest that it's going to be an amazing day. Let's do this.
Organic and natural, I think, is becoming a really important part of the road to net zero, of the solution for the future, and this fair forms a really important part of that journey.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. I'm honored to open the Nordic Organic Food Fair and Eco Living Scandinavia Fair in Malmo today. This year we are celebrating 10-year anniversary edition of the fair. This year edition of the fair is special to me because Poland has been announced the country of the year.
Where are you from?
From the Frankincense store, London.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
We also have our market access specialists here from Denmark, Sweden and Norway. Please raise your hand. And they're here to help businesses that have any market access issues when exporting from the UK to Denmark, Sweden and Norway.
Most recently, plant-based dairy continues to see strong penetration. There were an extra 1.5 million new shoppers entered the market in 2020. Label in the UK is more than just about cheaper alternatives to branded products. These are really innovative products in their own right, and retailers put a lot of investment and research behind their products.
Hi guys, so I'm just still here at the Natural Products Organic Show in Sweden, and whilst I was walking around I met this lovely lady Nina from the Vegan Society. For those of you who know, the Vegan Society is something that is, well, I'm going to leave that the rest to Nina to explain.
Okay, yeah.
Tell us, what do you do, why do you do it, and why are you here?
Okay, so we certify products that are vegan.
Okay.
So we will check the ingredients, the processes, check there's no cross-contamination, no animal products involved in there, and that there's been no testing on animals. So we will provide, if a product meets the criteria, of course, we will provide the certification, which is
right, so that's a symbol that everyone recognises.
Yeah, it's an internationally recognised symbol.
Okay.
Just so that buyers, vegan buyers, actually non-vegan buyers as well, recognise that a product is certified by a trusted third-party body.
Right. And how's the show been for you so far?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I feel like I've not even scratched the surface. It's a really big show. And when I first got here, I felt like it didn't look that big.
Yeah, I felt the same as well.
But it is. And what's really good is there's loads and loads of vegan brands.
There's a lot of people. And I kind of noticed something because I was walking around in the beauty section.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of products, and it's quite interesting because this industry is it's becoming a very big industry. And I feel a lot of people are cashing in on the idea of being vegan, and it's like following the fashion or following the trends.
Yeah.
And as I spoke to a lot of the fashion brand, or beauty brands rather, the first things they said when I asked them, "Can you tell me about your product?"
Yeah.
They would give me a list of certification companies, and they would say we are certified by PETA, certified by Cosmos, certified by Vegan, and they didn't actually tell me about the actual product itself. And then when I looked at some of the other companies, I noticed we are vegan friendly.
Yeah.
So what I've noticed is companies which are getting all of the certifications, but then does that make the product actually good to the consumer? And then there's companies which don't have all of the certifications.
Yeah.
I am one of them. But the product is good.
Yeah.
So what's your take on vegan friendly or certified vegan?
Yeah, sure. The first thing I would like to say is what people are doing is really commendable.
Right.
There's a lot of choice there now, which is very, very different from how it was several years ago for a vegan purchaser like me. So it's really commendable that there's so much choice.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but I did try to be a vegan for about a few months and I gave up because of the lack of choice.
I would say from being at this show, you yourself will have seen there is a lot of choice now.
Yeah.
So it's really commendable. People want to do it, and most people want to do it for the right reasons, which is amazing. We're there to support people, to help them So, with all the will in the world, people may be certifying something as vegan. They may truly believe that it's vegan, but they may not have thought about the ingredients, the processes, and was it ever tested on an animal to the same degree that we would from the Vegan Society.
Respect, yeah.
They might say it's vegan, but it may not be suitable for vegan people because they just didn't think about those things, so we can help them with that.
And that is so correct, because what I actually noticed was there was the apple stand, for example.
Yeah.
So we saw this lady, they were specialising in apples, Granny Smith apples, Pink Lady apples.
Yeah.
So automatically you would think apples are vegan, right? It's an apple, comes from a tree.
Yeah.
So this made me question a lot of things. And you asked them, well, what is your apples coated in? And I thought, well, apples, why would they be coated in anything? And their answer was to give it that shiny effect.
Yeah.
And what was their answer? What did they coat it in?
So that particular supplier
Yep.
claimed their products to be organic, which
Yep.
I don't dispute that at all.
Yeah.
However, they did mention that some of their products they will coat on behalf
On request.
on request,
Yeah.
yeah. So when I asked them what it was coated with, I sort of like knew already, but I knew you didn't know. And
That's
it was
right.
coated with shellac, and shellac comes from...
And that was a big surprise to me.
and shellac comes from beetles' bums. So
That's also the stuff that women put on their nails, right?
yeah. So I don't know why, first of all, anyone would want an apple with beetle.
So a lot of
bum
women
juice on
have
it.
beetle bum on their nails.
Yeah, and a lot of sweets, a lot of like jelly bean type
Oh
products.
no, not jelly beans.
Are
Oh.
shellac coated,
Yeah.
and these are things that people would think are naturally vegan because of what they are.
Right.
Like an apple, everyone's going to think an apple's vegan, but the
someone like
minute
myself.
we start messing about with it and coating it,
Yeah.
it's questionable whether it's still vegan,
Right.
and that's why it's really important to have a certification. So when I spoke to the apple lady,
Yeah.
and she had varieties of apples that weren't coated, I
Right.
said, would you be prepared to look at certifying those? Because
Yes.
then at least vegan people would know, do you know what, I can choose those apples because they're certified and I know I'm not consuming anything that I don't want to consume.
Right. And in the vegan, that's a really good point, because that was something of interest to her as well.
Yeah.
But in the vegan community, would there be like, is this something that is known amongst vegans?
Yes, I would say
Because-
so. I mean, you've got... Every year we're going to get new people come to veganism, which is brilliant. Veganism is growing at an absolutely massive rate, and we've all been there. We all live and learn. We've all accidentally consumed something. We've all been caught out. I've done it loads of times. I've not even mentioned this to you before, but there's loads of times where I might have been working and haven't had access to proper food, and there's been a vending machine. So I've looked at the vending machine and thought, do you know what? I'll take a punt on plain crisps.
Right. Yes.
I'll get it out of the vending machine, I'll turn the packet over and it'll have milk powder in it.
And milk powders are quite
It's
a
in
very
loads of
popular
things,
product. Yeah.
So it's the same sort of thing. We've all had our fingers burnt, and the longer you're vegan and the more you experience, the more you're like, I can't have that. That's a thing that's contentious. Why are they putting that in soup? You know, we're really aware of those things, but it might not cross the mind of a non-vegan, and that's why it's really important that I have these sort of conversations with people. I don't want to be just going in and going, you know, you need to veganise this, you need to veganise that. I need to tell them why and why it's important, and why it's important that they have transparent labelling and certification, because people who buy things for vegans, it's not just vegans that buy the things, it's their family, their friends, and they need to know that the things they're picking up for their family member is certified and it really is vegan.
Well, it's important because that's, in some respect, that's similar to like kosher or halal. It's a belief, it's someone's actual belief that we're going to be vegan, and we want to know.
Exactly.
So so if that's the case with apples, for example, what would be the case with a product that I sell, which is frankincense?
Yeah.
And it's pretty obvious that frankincense comes from a tree. It's organic.
Yeah.
It's natural. But then, hey, an apple comes from a tree.
Of course it does,
It's
yeah.
natural. It's
Yeah.
organic. But then humanity has just gone
Yeah.
around and
Yeah.
effed around with it.
Yeah.
So
So
but
you-
I can prove that frankincense is natural. Our
Yeah.
ethics show that. I believe every trader in the world that is dealing with frankincense is doing it in a natural way. It is natural. What can you do to frankincense to alter it? You can't with any animal product.
Right.
So why would someone like myself want to be certified
So the
for the resin. Now, I
So-
understand about the oils, but
Yeah,
the actual
resin.
resins.
So the very first thing you said then was obviously frankincense is it's vegan, it's a natural product. You said
Yeah.
obviously.
Obviously.
I don't live in your
Obviously,
world.
obviously, but
I don't
yeah.
live in your world.
Yeah.
I don't work in your world.
That's correct,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
where frankincense came from. That's probably me being a bit naive.
No,
so,
it's a
so
good,
for all I
fair question,
know,
yeah.
that could have been like musk, which comes from the anal glands of animals.
Right.
So for me, I didn't know where it came from.
Amber or
So,
something
so,
like
so
that.
now you've told me it's a natural product, that's great, but I don't know what the process is to get it into the resin. I don't know if there's any sort of filtration process or anything that might involve something that comes from an animal. I don't know that because I don't mix in your circles.
Right.
So it's
So anything to do with the animal on the resin or the tree, will that affect it from being vegan or non-vegan?
so something that lived there naturally, yeah?
So a camel licking the tree, which
Yeah.
and they do sometimes. Would that affect the tree or the process or not?
So what we're talking about really is like the exploitation of the animal
With intention?
With intention,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's an intentional
So no, that product, so your frankincense from the tree, its raw material, by the sounds of it,
Yes.
would be vegan.
Right.
But the good thing to do would be to certify it so that vegan people and non-vegan people that are going to buy for vegan people know that it's
That is actually
that it is
a good-
vegan because
So for as a Christmas product or a Christmas gift,
yeah,
they would
because
know.
like say my mum could go into your shop potentially if you certify, pick up your products and say, Nina can have this. I can see that it's certified. It's been checked.
So it's basically making things more transparent, so people can actually visually see
That is exactly what it's about. Yeah.
But then that comes back down to the issues that, such as the beauty companies here, they have all their products with all of this. So now what's happening, I feel, humanity is starting to look for labels rather than their own consciousness. But then our consciousness and ability to see things have been deceived. One of the things I was surprised about the apple lady, she said the Arab world basically requests a lot of the apples to be polished, which means it's going to be in shellac, as well as many of the supermarkets in the UK and across Europe as well. So it's kind of, it's a bit of a tricky one because on one side, I mean, our vision and mission is trying to restore people's consciousness in a way that you can identify and recognize things and see beyond the illusion of what they are creating. And what they are creating is a massive hole of chaos that's and everyone's fighting within that hole. For this market and this industry. But I get your organisation, its purpose. It's very important to have these labels.
Yeah, it is, and I see what you're saying, like from an over certification point of view, because you can go to some stands and they have got an awful lot of labels. But one thing to say about that is our certification, it also, because of our standards are incredibly high, which, obviously we don't want the products to have any animal products in, we don't want them to have any processes that involve animals in, we don't want any cross-contamination of animal products. So by proxy, our certification means you don't need the cruelty-free certificate, it means you don't need your halal certificate, it means you don't need your kosher certificate.
But I think halal and kosher, they have different guidelines and different rules and ethics and things like that. And that's another discussion because there are issues within the halal industry. Certain things that I don't agree with is the way certain things are being consumed. Like KFC fried chicken wasn't around at the time the prophets would be eating such type of food. For me, that's junk food, fast food. It's not a halal way of living. So the word halal has been disorientated because now you've got KFC and many countries around the world are replicating that idea and the ideology and the idea of fast food life to make it halal. And that's happening with other things. So, there's a strict guidelines within that, which has been altered. And so, again, I find kosher pretty strict within their guidelines.
I can't really comment on people's religion.
That's because even within religion, everyone has a different understanding.
But what I can say is, from our point of view, from a certification point of view, our standards are extremely clear. And our standards mean that a vegan person knows exactly what they're getting. They know that product has achieved a certification because it meets very strict guidelines.
So is it to do with the exploitation of animals, or is it more to do with, how is it? Because to put it in perspective, you've got different countries, Morocco, for example. And in Morocco, it's a huge consumption of meat. But I've witnessed it myself. They really I don't know if I can say they do it ethically with a vegan.
Nope, you won't
but
convince
yeah,
me.
I know.
No.
But the way they do it, they don't go to the supermarket and buy it in a plastic packet. That for me is very unethical. I have issues with anything wrapped in plastic, whether it's frankincense, fruit, vegetable, anything in plastic. I can't stand it. However, these countries, they will a family would buy a sheep, and it gets cut to be consumed. That will last for about a month. Everyone eats all the parts, and they understand how to choose the animal they are choosing. From that, the sheep, the wool gets supplied to somebody else, and it's a chain where everything gets used for different parts, and the leather and stuff like things like that if it's a cow. Is that ethical practices or not?
Not at all, because you've just summed it up there in just two little phrases. You said everything gets used.
Yes.
That animal has been used to serve all of those people.
Right.
So from a vegan's point of view, or from my personal point of view, no, it's not ethical. I can see where you're going from a sustainability point of view.
Yeah, sustainability would be
But
good,
from
right?
an ethical point of view to a vegan person, that is very, very far from acceptable, because everything that has come from that animal, there's an alternative for. There is a vegan alternative. You know, the clothing, the wool, or the food that it's produced. Any
So is it
potential
okay
milk.
to use wool, because wool is used widely all over the world in jumpers, right?
It is, yeah. And it's,
So what's wrong with wool?
It's a
If the animal is still alive,
yeah.
what's wrong with a woolly jumper or woolly hat
it's a
or woolly socks?
So it's a misconception. It's a misconception that so people think it's all right to keep shearing these animals and take the wool.
Exactly.
But we're still using an animal where we don't need
But
to.
the sheep will grow the wool. So if you had a haircut and we used your hair to make a paintbrush,
but if you
is that ethical or not?
But that animal has,
Rather than your hair going down the drain.
No, that animal has that coat for a reason, and you're taking the coat from that animal for a start.
Morocco's quite hot.
Yeah.
I think they need to chill out, the sheep.
No, but that animal is developed that way to have that coat for a reason. And if there's an alternative, why should we be taking it? We're exploiting that animal for our own ends. We don't need to do that. We're more advanced than that now.
What if the sheep and the cows and the chickens take over humanity? Like
I
take
don't
over
think
the
there's any
race?
danger of that.
There's no danger.
There's no
Because if
danger of
nobody
that.
eats them, they will take over, right?
No, they won't.
No?
No, they won't,
What
because they
if-
won't mass produce like we mass produce them at the moment.
Okay, so there is a mass producing mechanism in place where they're doing it intentionally to create sheep just for the consumption
I
of meat.
think so.
Okay, and so no more woolly jumpers then? Does that mean the end of nice woolly jumpers? What about Christmas? Like
you don't
Christmas
have
is
to have
coming.
wool. You don't have to have wool, do you? You can have.
But then that will increase the plastics industry. Like China's going to take over with plastic jumpers and
No,
PVC
no,
and
because there's-
polyester. Sorry, polyester. And,
Well, no, because that's a plastic option, isn't it? But there's so many other natural fibres as well. So you've got hemp, cotton, bamboo, some really sustainable alternatives to these plastics that you're mentioning. But it means you don't have to necessarily have animal or plastic. That's not the choice. There's other choices there. And like just being at a place like here really proves that as well, because we see some really, really good products today.
Yeah, it's been really amazing. I mean, one of the things that we actually saw walking around was the beef burgers. And they were amazing. The quality of the meat was, I tried one and I can vouch for it. It tastes exactly like a beef burger. I just think it needs to be more popular, more spread out, universally accepted. I think religions have a big part in some of these topics. So such as India, the cow is sacred. It's a holy animal there, and they don't touch it and eat it. But then all of a sudden, the cow became a status of wealth, where if you do eat the cow or beef or meat, it means you have a lot of money. Now people want to be seen as being wealthy, and that's what's happening in a country where the religion forbid it, but now it's being eaten. And then you have other countries where where meat is highly consumed, but you're seeing like mixed grill platters, mixed whether it's chicken, beef, lamb, all on one plate. So I find that quite unusual, because there should be an ethical manner of eating it as a meat eater. So I have issues as a meat eater with the meat industry, but I think you hit the nail on the head. There are alternatives. I think we as a society needs to look for alternatives, have that intention, and really get it out there.
Yeah, that's why this show's been really good, because there's been alternatives in everything. We've seen alternatives in food, drink, clothing, even down to we saw washing up liquid and a moss removing product.
Yep. Even there was what was the the one to replace the tampons as well. That was a great innovation as well. Wonderful.
So.
You know, the amount of nappies and you know, period pants that are being disposed of every day is devastating to our planet. I think you made some really interesting points, Nina. Thank you very much. And if you need to learn more about the Vegan Society, you can just contact Nina on these details here below and learn more about it. And if you want to get registered with the vegan stamp, I suggest it. We may consider it. Let's see what happens, but we're definitely going to stay in touch.
Yes.
Peace.
So I just finished the exhibition today, and it's been great. But there's just one more thing left to do whilst you're here in Sweden, and that's to have a sauna. Thankfully, I've got my Boswing and Neglector here with me. I'm gonna just take a moment to relax and breathe in some of this stuff and end this amazing trip.